Well, hello. This is actually a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, but I've kind of been actually nervous to doing. So I thought, hey, you know what? Let's just try it out. I read someplace your first video is going to suck. Your first podcast is going to suck. Your first artwork's going to suck. So, I thought I'd do something a little different. I usually do, board games, war games on my channel. And lately I've been into more of philosophy. So I've been picking up and reading quite a few philosophy books. But this one right here, Seneca on the shortness of life. Um, Life is long if you know how to use it. This is an interesting book that I read. There's actually three essays on it. It's The Shortness of Life, Consolation to Helvia, which is to his mother, and On the Tranquility of Mind. But and I'll probably do a video on the other two essays here, but really on the shortness of life is the one that has really spoke to me that I really wanted to talk about. I do annotate my books, so people go ahead, write in your books, guys. Underline, highlight, make notes, do whatever. They're books. I know some people like that's like sacrilegious to write in your books, but as I've been going through my schooling, my master's program, I found that uh, writing in the books is something that has really helped me out. Hey, Jester, we are talking about Seneca on the shortness of life, a little philosophy, and I wanted to go over some of the quotes that I found that really interested me. With the way it is. And probably the first one that came, and by the way, I wrote them all out because I really wanted to do this and exactly where they're at. And by the way, this book is like $12. There's three essays in it, and I really got a lot out of it. I can't wait to read it some more, reread the stuff and things like that. So, but the first quote that I came across that I really thought meant something is, it is not that we have a short life or a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and if sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all we were invested. So basically, and I probably miswrote that because it came out wrong. But the whole part was the first part. It is not that we have a short life; it's that we waste a lot of it. So I started thinking about how much time do we waste watching TV, just doing nothing. How much time do we spend on our phones? The doom scrolling, as I like to call it. It's something that I've been trying to work on. Jester, I know you've been working on games and you've been utilizing your time wisely on that one for sure. And congratulations on getting 100 different games in 1 year on your channel. So that's an achievement in itself. So good job with that. But it really made me think. If it's like, really, I mean, we have a short life, yeah, but how much time do we actually use? How much time do we actually live it? And so I thought that it was that event. So and the next part is, so it is, we are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill supplied, but wasteful of it. Yeah, exactly. You can put your mind at, you do that exactly. So it was really good. But exactly. So again, so it is, we are not given a short life, but we make it short, and we are not ill supplied, but wasteful of it. So we look at the amount of life we have. I mean, I've been doing a lot of Stoic philosophy lately, looking into it. And there's a whole idea on Stoic philosophy that, you don't always have tomorrow. How many people woke up? How many had plans tomorrow that aren't able to make it? So it's a little dark, but if you take that into essence, you enjoy the time that you have and you spend every time with that. This one right here I thought was interesting because it kind of shows the materialistic ideas that there have, is that people are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are the most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy. So this one right here is like, it really speaks to me, and I've been trying to do a lot better in that. And obviously nobody's perfect at anything. You just keep working on it. But people are frugal and guarding their personal property. So it just really was interesting. Spoke to me because then, but the one thing when it comes to squandering time, they are the most wasteful of it. Like how often do we not use our time? Do we just fill it with monotonous stuff, not useful stuff? And that, one reason why I went back to school is because I felt like it was time for me to I felt like I was wasting time, and even since then, even going farther. So another quote that he in here that I really, that, like I said, I've got about a couple more quotes, so it won't be too much longer. But it is more impressive to carry out these things than to promise them. And basically, when you actually say you're going to do something and you actually do it, it's more impressive when you actually do it than when you promise it. I thought that was a good idea about commitment. Believe me, it is a sign of a great man and one who is above human error not to allow his time to be frittered away. He has the longest possible life simply because whatever time he was available, he devoted himself entirely to himself. So, and this isn't like devoted to yourself, like being selfish like that. It's devoting, making sure that you're doing productive things, making sure that things are going. So it's really, one of those things that I'm like, okay, we're going through this. I've really found out Seneca was interesting because he was like the personal philosopher to Nero. And if you know history, Nero, burnt Rome down, was horrible. And actually Nero ended up requesting Seneca actually commit suicide, like self-imposed death sentence. So it was kind of interesting. Seneca's gone through. Another one of the great Stoic philosophers, Epith. I have not read a lot of him, but he was a slave that was freed, and there's a lot of good thoughts that he goes. So hopefully I can get into the Epith sometime. Epith. Okay, life will follow the path it began to take and will neither reverse nor check its course. Basically, life is not in your control. No matter how much you want it to be, life is not in your control. It will neither reverse, so you can't back up, you can't fix the past, you can just move forward, and it won't check its course to make sure it's going the right way or the way you want it to. You have no choice in it. You are along for the ride. And a lot of people, and one thing I've been working on myself is to control things that I control and not let the things that I can't control bother me. Now I'm failing miserably at that. I always get frustrated at stuff I can't control. It always bothers me. So, but it's a personal goal to work towards that. So life will follow the path it began to take and will neither reverse nor check its course. No, your life is just the way it goes. If a lot of the philosophy that I've been reading has been really on about, you control what you control, and then you just adapt with what you can't control. You can't, the weather, you can't control the weather. So, but what you can do is you can control how the weather affects you. Whether if you're having a rainy day, whether you let it get it down, if it's a sunny day and you're not in that mood, you can control how you respond to the different items. So I thought that was something that was a lot of stuff that I've been reading. A lot of the Stoic philosophy that I've been reading has been really big into that. Got a couple more here. So it is inevitable that life will be not just short, but very miserable for those who acquire by great toil what they must keep by a greater toil. So basically, this is the whole materialistic part. Now, it's interesting how much Seneca goes into, the materialistic part, which is really hitting it, which is interesting because this was, 2000 plus years ago, ancient Greece, and how he was hitting how the materialistic things were going on back then. And we see it today. So to me, it's one of those things that it's always been there. But in this case, it's really great. So people will toil to get this achievement, and a lot of times we take it as money, a house, a car, whatever. You have this achievement. You toil very, very hard. You save up, you work hard, you get this, and then you have to work even harder to keep it. So yes, Peter, he's my next on my list. Yes, definitely. I'm getting through Seneca right now because and this is the book right now that I'm talking about, particularly the essay on the shortness of life. The other two are really good too. So and this is a little off topic of what my channel is, but I thought I'd had to share it because I really, really enjoy that. So, but I still think it's interesting that the same issues that we have today were the same issues that they had thousands of years ago. I saw a T-shirt that read "Study History" and realize people have been this stupid for thousands of years. And so, it's really interesting to see that philosophy hasn't really changed that much and things like that. So, so that was pretty good. Got two more here. So when you see a man repeatedly wearing the robe of office, or one whose name is often spoken in the forum, do not envy him. These things were won at the cost of life. This to me basically says don't. It's the whole fame thing. People are big on fame. People are big on being in power and things like that. um no, it's honestly I'm having a reaction to my eyes, if that's what you're thinking. No. But anyways, so don't envy these people that are in power because they've usually given up part of a piece of their life to get that. And sometimes they've even given up, I think a lot of times, their moral character, their morals, their ideas, just to be in charge. So Seneca says, don't envy these people because how they got to where they are, they've given up some life. And if you think about it, let's take a professional athlete when we're thinking about this. How much training have they gave up? They gave up their time. Now they've chosen to do that, and that's their choice, but they gave up some of their life for that goal. Now we all give up certain lives for our goals. Now, if that wasn't something you wanted to give up, it would be really interesting. Yeah, I agree. I've read Meditations, and I probably should have not read that right away, and I'm going to have to read it multiple times. And most people that I know that have read Meditations have to read it multiple times, once a year, because you get new things, your life changes, you understand a little bit more. They have read Meditations. There's quite a few of stuff out of there. I've really annotated that one to death. I've got so many flags sticking out of that thing. But yeah, it's interesting because he seems like a down to earth man for being in charge of the largest empire in the world at the time. I'm not going to say ever because if you look at a map, the Roman Empire is is smaller than the United States, and that includes the Mediterranean. So, and finally, this one I think really is interesting is some men, after they have crawled through thousand indignities to the supreme dignity, to gain to indignities to the supreme dignity, have been assailed by the gloomy thought that all their labors were for the sake of an epitaph. Um, yeah, thanks, Chester. So basically, it's interesting that the way he puts it. So some man, after they have crawled through a thousand indignities to get the one thing they wanted. So they crawled through all the muck and the mire, and they've crawled through all these ideas, and maybe even suffered horribly, suffered indignities, suffered different things to get the one good thing that you can get. But then you realize that all you did was, now it's on your tombstone, it's on your epitaph, it's one of those things. So all they did to gain this one thing that their goal was to actually just have an epitaph. And I think one of the reasons why I've really gotten back in, why I got back into teaching 10 years ago, 9, 10 years ago now, or wanted to, was because I wanted to affect the world going forward. I know we make jokes about certain things, and I'm teaching the youth and everything, but what I have seen over the last 9 years teaching has gone through um, has really gone through, and it has affected me in quite a positive manner. I see the good that's in the world. I see the youth. I see what actually happens. All we see is this negativity and everything like that. So I really have gone back and have gone through. So um, it got to the point where now I feel like I'm leaving a legacy that will live on because I've helped these students move forward. Um, and to me, that is something that is really it's important to me. And I don't know if my students ever realize how important it is for me to help them to move forward in life, to think, just kind of show them to help them live their dreams. It's really important to me. And, only got so much time on earth. Everybody's only got so much time on earth. I think of Clark Commando, Mark Gregario. He's like, every single time he can do something, he's doing something because he knows he has a short amount of time left. What if we actually decided to realize that, hey, we only have a short amount of time left. Let's utilize it as best as possible. So here I am watching, making a video about using your time. But to me, that's important. I want to get this out, and whether other people get into it or not, I don't know. But I kind of wanted to put it out there. I thought there were some really good ideas. Um, Again, I'm kind of discussing Seneca on the shortness of life. This book again has 3 essays in it, and the first one is on the shortness of life. The other 2 were consolation of Helvia and the tranquility of mind. And there's some really good stuff in here. And I'll have to go through the consolation of Helvia. Now, that was actually, he was writing to his mother when he was exiled out of Greece, or out of Rome. Sorry, wrong wrong generation, because I was thinking of earlier generations. And how he's like, you know what? It's not a big deal. I'm alive. I have everything that I need, and everything like that. So I'll get onto that one because that'll be an interesting one. But I really do recommend it. In this, like, $12, $13, really think about that. Yes, Mike, I bet you are going to use your time well. So hey, Dwayne, how's it going? Peter, yes, life is short. I agree with that immensely. Or cheap beer, or bad beer. And then yes, Mike's gonna be at GMT weekend. It's always in October when I am teaching, so that's one of those things it's always interesting on that one. But I really think so. It's definitely an interesting. I've started really going into, and what's interesting is I'm going into the idea of um, a stoicism, but I've also started getting into some of the Eastern philosophy, like the mindfulness and stuff like that. And it's an interesting overlap of these ideas. Both of them are, I would consider, ancient ideas, philosophies, and they overlap, even though most likely very few interactions between India and Greece are the 2 main areas that this come from. It's very interesting that there might not have been very much overlap, and how isolated a lot of these civilizations were. But the fact that they actually still the ideas cross over so well. It's controlling what you can control. You can't control everything, and there's no reason to get upset about stuff you can't control. You can control, the one thing you control is how you react to things. Life could be going shit. you can decide whether you want to let that affect you or not. I've been working on not letting that affect me, and it's working to an extent, and I feel stronger about that. And I'm really gonna I'm gonna finish the videos. I'm gonna do the other two essays, but like $12. Amazon, it's Kindle's 99 cents. So if you have a Kindle, it's 99 cents right now. Pick it up. I really recommend it very highly. It's easy reading. It's not that long, but I think every time I've read it, because I've read this essay 2 or 3 times, I've caught something else. So, but I just wanted to get on, do a short video about this. It's been kind of on my list to do for a while. I'll be honest with you. When I had my surgery, I not had any surgery where they had to knock me out. So I was going through a little bit of emotional things at the time, figuring that out, like what happens, what if. And I let that anxiety get to me before. There's nothing I could have done about it. It's not like I could have woken up and said, no, you're screwing up, fix me. I had no control over it. And eventually I got to the point about 2 or 3 days ahead of time where I finally just said, listen, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm going to go in, I'm going to trust, that things are going to go okay. And I'm going to wake up. And what happened? I woke up and I had, everything was great. And actually I've recovered quite well. I have my follow-up appointment tomorrow, so it works out there. Yes. Most people wake up, I'll be fine. Yes, that was going through my mind as they were rolling me into the ER. Most people wake up. No, I felt comfortable with it. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's different from what I usually going through. What I usually do on the video. I was playing some Panzer Grenadier earlier. Trying to knock throughout some scenarios, having a little bit of fun with that. But I was like, you know what? House is quiet. Let's do this. So I hope you enjoyed it. I thank everybody for jumping in. And we'll see you the next time. A little philosophy, a little something different. And in the words of Monty Python's, and now for something completely different. See you later. Bye.